What in the hell is going on? People are losing their minds. And for that reason, today we're talking about
and then he cabled me and said, "I've got insulin, it works, come home quick." We ran out of insulin too. Some of our patients who had been treated and were well died from lack of insulin. That was a hectic time, particularly for me, because I was supposed to make it again, and of course we did rediscover how to do it, and the secret can never be lost.
All right, real quickly, during today's intro, I'm gonna give you a few new slang words for the term toilet paper that you'll be able to amaze your friends with. Here we go. In 2017, an article was released on the Beyond Type 1 website called Diabetes After the Apocalypse. As ridiculous as it sounds, I kind of had to ask myself, with how crazy people are being over stupid deuce tickets, at what point should I worry about losing access to diabetic supplies? I mean, people are actually fist fighting over poop mittens. Here's an example. But what about the 34-year-old woman who went as far as breaking into a stranger's home, cursing at him, and tried to steal his turd tortillas? CNN reported about a Japanese man that literally wrote a curse on a piece of paper and put it over his bowel towel. Now we're talking about thin squares of 2-ply paper, or 1-ply, depending on if you get the good stuff or not. And if people are literally willing to go rounds or commit crimes or summon evil spirits over poop erasers, I mean, what lengths are they gonna go to get my medicine? And with that in mind, I began to search around the interwebs to answer basically 3 burning questions. Number 1, how probable is it that I, as a diabetic, will actually experience a shortage on medication or medical device supplies? Number 2, what should an actual doomsday diabetic supply look like? And number 3, at what point is action considered an overreaction, and what are the ramifications? So let's talk about it in the prick. So off the bat, I want you to know that this is not a fear piece. I'm not putting this video together to scare you and make you feel like you need to go out and buy a shotgun, even though I just did. Shouldn't do that, or steal your neighbor's TP or set a curse over your own supply. But I do want to give you some information that might be helpful over this span of craziness. So as far as an actual medication or medical device shortage goes, the first thing you need to consider during the TP apocalypse is that there's going to be a lot of different factors when you are considering what an actual medication shortage is going to mean to you. So unless you're paying an out-of-pocket cost for your medications, your ability to go out and hoard up all the insulin or diabetes medication is going to really depend on your insurance plan. If you're approved for a prescription refill every 30 days, you might be in luck and you might be able to get some more medication very soon. But if you're at a 90-day refill, well... Now there are exceptions, and sometimes insurance companies will actually fill a prescription once 80 to 90% of your previous supply has actually been used up. But it's really rare and it's unusual, and it's usually going to require your endo's approval. It is, however, a little reassuring to know that even the most proactive preppers are only going to be able to get their normally approved supply of medications, which will allow us to get what we need, hopefully. Now, some insurance companies have already began to set new policies in order to fill these premature demands. Just a few weeks back, Regence Blue Cross Blue Shield began easing access to their medications. And as of March 1st, the refill policies for medications have been eased, excluding opioids. For certain medications to treat chronic conditions, members may also require a 90-day refill, even if you have a 30-day. And drug lists and additional policies will adjust in the event of a drug shortage. This is to ensure that members have an uninterrupted access to the medications that they need without any additional costs. And there's good news in regards to medication supplies. Eli Lilly recently came out and shared a statement on the website basically saying Lilly does not anticipate any shortages for any of our products. including all forms of insulin since the initial outbreak. Lilly went on to say that we've been closely monitoring our supply chain for potential impact to the supply of the medications around the world. They do not source any active pharmaceutical ingredients from China, and that their insulin manufacturing sites in the US and in Europe have not been impacted by the coronavirus. Lilly insulin and other medications are available as normal in the US pharmacies. Pharmacies that do not have certain medications in stock can order them from wholesalers with a delivery of 1 to 2 days. And there's more good news. As far as medical devices go, Insulet, you might have their device, the Omnipod. I do, I just got one. Shared this post on their Facebook page. They do not anticipate any product supply issues, and they're backing this up with contingency plans. And even though they have manufacturing plants in both the United States and in China. So what about a doomsday supply? This is where the research gets a little tricky. There's no way to really predict that this person is going to need X amount of insulin if an entire shutdown of society happens. And as you know, it's really going to depend on that individual's medication regimen, as well as their potential access to get medication wherever they may live. In case of an emergency on an average day, the ADA actually recommends that you have a 3-day supply worth of insulin or medical supplies. In this case, there's really no way to know how long this crisis is going to last. And now during the TP crisis, things get crappy really fast. And if people are capable of this over just TP, well, what are they going to be capable of if it's a medical supply that they need? I mean, really, what's to stop them from looting a pharmacy or coming into your house? Again, I'm not trying to scare you. There was an article back in 2015 in the Diabetes Daily website, and they were suggesting things as far as calling your doctor up and telling them things like, oh, I'm going to go out of town. Can I please get an extra refill of medication? And kind of tricking the system in order to stock up on supplies. Or even going as far as saying, just do out of pocket and buy as much as you can, because after society fails, money's not going to mean anything anyway, so just rack up your credit card. There's even another movement that began years ago called biohacking, and people are literally building microbreweries for insulin in their communities, which is basically people DIYing their own medication. And truthfully, a proper explanation of this is just going to require its own video. So then at what point is action considered overreaction? Well, let's talk about it in the squeeze. So common sense will tell you, if we're all going to continue to consume products at the normal rate, a shortage would be less likely. But common sense really isn't that common. I mean, anyone who's ever witnessed Black Friday knows that greed can overtake the best in people. People are crazy, and when it comes to self-preservation, where can we draw the line? So here's the simple definition of action. It's the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim. Now, overreaction is to react to something too strongly, to respond to something too strong, an emotion, or with unnecessary or excessive action. And really, that's the key. If everyone overreacts, if everyone is excessive, then we all suffer. So what's the resolution? Well, ask yourself, how have I personally conducted myself during these last few weeks? I mean, we've already got the chips stacked against us. And if as diabetics we begin to look out for each other instead of just ourselves, we might just make it through this. But I'll leave that up to your interpretation. I'm Ben, I'm Type Me, and I'll see you next time.